Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Shamita Deshmukh and today I'm going to talk about some books that I want to read by the end of the year. I'm saying the end of the year because 1 month is too short and I have too many books I want to read. So starting with books that I am currently reading. First book is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. This book talks about two systems, System 1 and System 2. System 1 thinks fast and System 2 thinks slow. Read till now. It's a very detailed and in-depth book and I'm annotating it as I read it. I don't know if you can see. Book number 2 that I'm currently reading is How to Read a Book. Ironic, I know. So this is the classic guide to intelligent reading and it talks about how you should read a non-fiction book, how you should read imaginative literature, and I'll read you the contents of this book because the contents are really interesting. So the dimensions of reading is part 1, part 2 is the third level of reading, analytical reading, part 3 is approaches to different kinds of reading matter, and part 4 is the ultimate goals of reading. I'm on page 198 and there are 400 pages, 400 something pages. The next book that I want to read is a book that a lot of book owners have been telling me to read. Atomic Habits. Whenever I go to a bookshop and people ask me, have you read this book? I always say yes, because it's a... I've read this book a bit. This book is very interesting, but for some reason, I have read The Power of Habit and another book on habits, and they're kind of repetitive and they repeat the same concepts. And this book changes it a bit, but it still follows the cue, response, and action principle. But I'll get around to reading it. The next non-fiction book that I want to read is The Argumentative Indian by Amartya Sen. This book is about... Okay, so it says India is a hugely diverse country with many divergent customs and a feast of viewpoints. In this celebrated book, Amartya Sen argues that only by exploring its long pioneering tradition of skeptical argument and cultural achievement can we understand contemporary India's place in the world. Again, this is a thick book and the font is small. There's a lot in this book, and my aunt has read this book and she said that it's a really good book. So I can't wait to read this and I wish to get to this book by the end of this year. The next book that I want to read is The Black Magic Woman. This book is by Moushami Kandali and she's a bilingual short story writer. This is a compilation of short stories and it basically focuses on northeastern women in India. So it's short stories on working women in from northeast India, from northeastern origin, and it sounds fun. And I went to a local bookshop and I was just browsing the shelves and this spine caught my eye, so I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And then my aunt read it and she was like, this book is really good, you should read it. So I'm prioritizing this book. Okay, next book I want to read is a book that belonged to my grandfather. It is by V.S. Naipaul and it says An Area of Darkness. It's an autobiography. So it says, someone wrote the review that this is a true autobiography arises when a man encounters something in his life which shocks him into the need for self-examination and self-explanation. It was natural that a sojourn in India should provide this shock for Naipaul. The experience was not a pleasant one, but the pain the author suffered was creative rather than numbing. An Area of Darkness, tender, lyrical, explosive and cruel. I think this is a travel monologue. I know that the author is very celebrated and has won awards, and it's my dada bought this book in 2001 and I didn't get the chance to talk to him about this book, but he recommended it to me, so I'll read this in remembrance of him. And now another book I want to read is The Algebra of Infinite Justice by Arundhati Roy. So I have an aunt and uncle, and they're well-read people, and they both dislike Arundhati Roy because they say she's communist and she can't say like a single good thing about her own country. I'm still at a very nascent phase, and I haven't formed I haven't had the chance to form an educated opinion about Arundhati Roy, and I want to, because as a kid growing up, I looked up to her, and I want to see. And I don't know why. She's like very celebrated internationally, but in her own country, she is disliked. Also, the cover of this book is gorgeous. Look at it. It has a lizard, and it's green and lime green and pink, hot pink. Okay, now getting on to fiction. No, one last non-fiction book left by Murakami, what I talk about when I talk about running. It's a short book, and I got it online, and I want to read it because I want to get into running. I don't run, but I want to start running, and hopefully this will provide me some inspiration. Next, some classics that I want to get to. Man's Search for Meaning, I won't talk about it much, I'll talk about it after I've read it. Inferno, I want to finish this. In this edition, there is no explanations, only the cantos are given and in the translated form, but I think I'll be able to read it. Then a play, Much Ado About Nothing. It's a comedy, I believe, by William Shakespeare. I would like to read this. I got this from somewhere. I don't remember where I got this copy from, but it's a loved copy. It's been annotated and it has damage. I want to read this. Michael Crichton's State of Fear. He's the guy who wrote Jurassic Park. I won't talk much about it, but I want to read it. Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand. I bought this book in 2020 and I have not read it. Like, I read half of it, then got bored. Actually, the protagonist, the female protagonist, is an incredibly dull character, but you have to look through her dullness into who she actually is. She has an affair and with a married man, I believe. And she's an incredibly dull character. And I just couldn't keep up with her, but it's fine, I'll read it because I really want to get into her philosophy. And the font of this book is tiny, like, can you see? And it is 1,000 pages, nearly 1100 pages long. I want to read this by the end of this year. Another book I want to read is Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad. People do not like Joseph Conrad because they say he is racist and misogynist, and I don't know, they don't like him, but I haven't read any of his works, and so I can't say. But then again, even Stephen King has his problems, like he is racist too. If you read it, then you'd know. So it has a map, so I'll have to read this to know. Then two classics, Death on the Nile. I got the movie cover edition, which I do not like, but it's fine. And Emma, I love this edition. Penguin's classic, I bought it second hand. So Emma and Death on the Nile. And then the big beast I want to read is House of Leaves. I caved in and bought this for nearly 1,000 rupees on Amazon because I couldn't find it anywhere else. And this book, oh my god, look, It's like spatial horror, and it's weird. And I got the mass market colored paperback edition. I've only read a little bit, but I want to finish it this year. There are a lot of books that I want to finish this year, and I lost where I put my bookmark. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. I really appreciate your time. Like, comment, subscribe and share. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!